How's it going, my peeps? And as you can tell from the title, I want to talk about the Royal Rumble and the returns. You guys all know the Royal Rumble is a pay-per-view for returns. Every single year they have the Rumble, and every single year there's a bunch of returns. Might be some legends returning, might be some superstars returning from injury, or sometimes it's superstars who might have gotten released in the past and now they're coming back. You know, just last year, for example, you had Road Dogg coming back. You also had the Great Khali returning and Karma returning. There was a bunch of returns, also Booker T, but Booker T did return in the 2011 Royal Rumble, but he made another appearance in the 2012 Royal Rumble. Now this year, I think it's going to be no different. We're also going to have some returns. I mean, every single year. I don't think there's been a year where there hasn't been any returns, you know, legends, or like I said, people returning from injury and such. So, you know, I just want to talk about that. I want to talk about what returns we can expect, maybe, what returns I think might happen. And just like last year, I made a video just like this, and I was also using Christian. So I guess it's kind of like tradition now. I mean, last year the video was called a look at the possible returns for the Royal Rumble 2012, or a look at the possible Royal Rumble 2012 returns. Well, whatever, doesn't really matter. But it was pretty much the same video as this, but for the previous Royal Rumble, obviously the returns were different, the superstars in the matchup were different. What you're watching right now is pretty much a Royal Rumble match, a 10-man Royal Rumble match consisting of superstars I could possibly see making a return. So as you can see here, we've got Christian, we've got John Morrison, JBL, all superstars I could potentially see returning. Now, these might be one-night returns only, like only for the Rumble. Might be a full return, who knows, but I'm just talking about returns in general. Now also, in the comment section, I'd love to hear what you guys think. Who do you guys think will return at the Rumble? Give me a list of superstars you could see coming back for the Royal Rumble match, and after the Rumble, we could check out who got it right, who got most of the superstars right that they predicted returning. So anyways, let's start off with Christian here. I want to talk about pretty much all the returns here and all the superstars in this matchup. So Christian's been out of action now for a couple months. The last time we saw him was on an episode of SmackDown where Del Rio was still trying to get the bro kick banned, and he actually got Christian on the Titantron to ask him if he also thinks the bro kick should be banned. Christian went on to say, I believe, that he does think the bro kick should be banned, but before he got to say his explanation, Del Rio cut him off, and that was about it for his appearance. And his last matchup was against Antonio Cesaro, I believe, on an episode of SmackDown. He actually won the matchup, but after the match, Antonio Cesaro took him out, and that was Christian's last in-ring appearance. Now, when it comes to the Rumble and why I think Christian would return, well, I think he's cleared to wrestle now, or will be cleared pretty soon. And what a coincidence, when it comes to Christian, I think this is the third year in a row, if he does indeed return at the Rumble, or, you know, pretty soon, it's going to be the third year in a row where Christian returns for WrestleMania. WrestleMania time, basically. The road to WrestleMania. The past 2 years, he's returned at the Elimination Chamber. Maybe he returns at the Elimination Chamber once again, or maybe, just maybe this time they change it up, and Christian returns at the Rumble, enters the Rumble match. I'm not going to say wins it because I doubt that's going to happen, although I would love to see Christian win the Rumble. I've stated that in the past, I stated that in the previous Royal Rumble video like this I did last year, and I'm going to say it again. I would love to see Christian win the Rumble, challenge for the world title, and get a decent title reign. But what's most likely going to happen, though, in my opinion, with Christian, if he does indeed return at the Rumble, he's probably going to go after Antonio Cesaro if they, you know, if they continue with that storyline and Christian, you know, wants some payback and does return as a face. If he returns as a face in the Rumble, I'm predicting he goes after Antonio Cesaro, eliminates him, and then they start a program for the United States Championship where maybe Christian wins the US title at WrestleMania or something like that. Or if he does return as a heel, I don't know, if he returns as a heel, honestly, I'm not sure what he's going to do. I'm not sure who he's going to go after, if he's going to go after anybody. I don't know, we'll see. Now, I don't want to dedicate this entire video to Christian here. I want to talk about the other superstars too, including the Boogeyman, who also just got eliminated, well, a couple minutes ago. The Boogeyman, why don't I think he might return? Well, he was recently on an episode of Raw, the Slammy Awards edition of Raw. He made an appearance there when Booker T was about to give the Slammy Award for, oh, I didn't just see that moment, or whatever it's called. So I wouldn't be too surprised if that was not his only appearance and he returns at the Rumble. Now, if the Boogeyman does indeed return at the Rumble, I don't think it's going to be a full-time thing where he returns at the Rumble and, you know, is a part of the full-time roster and gets involved in a feud and stuff like that. I think maybe it's going to be like a one-time appearance. And also, John Morrison, who also got eliminated a couple minutes ago in this simulation here, this gameplay video. I could potentially see John Morrison being one of the guys returning, you know. A while back, there was an article about, you know, mid-card wrestlers returning or something like that. I'm not sure if that's really accurate or not, but if it is, I wouldn't be too surprised if one of those mid-card guys would be John Morrison. And John Morrison himself, I believe, like not too long ago, talking about how he wants to or is going to return to the WWE soon. So maybe that's the Rumble. Maybe he returns at the Rumble. Last time we saw him, he was facing off against The Miz in a Falls Count Anywhere match where The Miz hit the skull-crushing finale on Morrison on the stage. So now that The Miz is face, though, I don't think if Morrison does return at the Rumble, I don't think he's going to go after The Miz unless he returns maybe as a heel. But if he does return, we could maybe see some cool moments. I mean, I remember the 2011 Royal Rumble. John Morrison saved himself from getting eliminated by like hanging on to the barricade and walking on that barricade and then jumping back on the steel steps and getting back in the ring. I think that influenced, I guess, Kofi Kingston's cool moment in the 2012 Royal Rumble when he did that handstand or whatever and he was walking on his hands. That was a pretty cool moment too. But yeah, I could potentially see John Morrison returning at the Rumble. Now, you've also got Mark Henry. Mark Henry's been out for a while now. What was his last match? I think his last match might have been against CM Punk for the WWE Championship on an episode of Raw. For the WWE Championship. I think it was like a no disqualification match or something like that. And I think Mark Henry's most recent run, he was like at his best. You know, won the world title, had the Hall of Pain. You know, he just beat up Big Show, beat up Sheamus, beat up Kane. And by beat up, I mean, you know, put their legs in between a steel chair and jump on it. Actually, I don't think he did that to Sheamus, but yeah, freaking Mark Henry, he was cool to watch. You know, I really enjoyed SmackDown while he was, you know, world champion. Really disappointed when he lost the title. Now, as far as Mark Henry returning for the Rumble, I'd love to see that happen. And I'd love to see him just come out and dominate, just take some superstars out. I'm not sure if he does return, if he returns like as a heel or as a face. I know on Twitter recently, or actually 2 months back or so, I'm not too sure. He was talking about the Shield and how they're annoying him or pissing him off. So maybe he returns as a face. For instance, if the Shield enters the Rumble as contestants, you could have them, you know, dominate most of the matchup or something like that, take out a few superstars, and then Mark Henry's music hits and he comes out and takes them out. That'd be pretty cool for face Mark Henry return. Or if Mark Henry returns as heel, you could have like Ryback, you know, eliminate a bunch of superstars in the matchup, kind of maybe clear the ring or something like that, and then have Mark Henry's music hit and he comes out. And Ryback and Mark Henry have a stare down, they fight it out, but then what usually happens in those situations is that other superstars then get involved and interrupt the fight between the two. So, you know, I think that'd be a pretty cool way to maybe start a feud between Mark Henry and Ryback, maybe building to a match between Ryback and Mark Henry at WrestleMania or something like that. Who knows? All I know is that'd be pretty cool, and as far as Mark Henry potentially winning the matchup, I doubt that would happen, just like I doubt Christian would win the match if he returns. But hey, if Henry does indeed return and wins the Rumble, I think that'd be pretty damn cool. I'm a big fan of Mark Henry, so I like that. Anyways, let's move on to somebody else I could see returning, and that's Tommy Dreamer. He recently had an appearance on Monday Night Raw. He teamed up with Del Rio and The Miz in a triple threat. I mean a 6-man tag team match against 3MB, I believe. So I wouldn't be too surprised if that, just like the Boogeyman, wouldn't be his only appearance, and he has an appearance at the Rumble as well as a contestant as a Royal Rumble entrant. And then I could also see Billy Gunn and Road Dogg returning at the Rumble, especially Billy Gunn. You see, last year, 2012 Royal Rumble, Road Dogg returned in the Rumble, and Billy Gunn wasn't there. He wasn't an entrant in the Royal Rumble matchup. But recently on NXT, Billy Gunn made an appearance on NXT with Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Kevin Nash, and X-Pac. So I can definitely see Billy Gunn making a return at the Rumble this year, since last year, like I said, Road Dogg made his return. So I could see either, both of them together making their return, or just one of them. And if it's just one of them, then I'm predicting it's going to be Billy Gunn, especially now that there's a lot of emphasis on Dolph Ziggler. He's getting a lot of TV time, and he's got this stable now and stuff like that. And he's in the Money in the Bank holder, and he's also in the Rumble matchup. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we see some interaction between Billy Gunn and Dolph Ziggler. You have like Dolph Ziggler in the matchup, and then Billy Gunn comes out and they fight it out. I think that'd be a pretty cool moment, and maybe that leads to like a match between Billy Gunn and Dolph Ziggler at WrestleMania. A lot of people have made the comparison between Billy Gunn and Dolph Ziggler. So if Billy Gunn does indeed return at the Rumble, I'd definitely like to see, him and Dolph Ziggler go at it, trade some punches or something like that. And also somebody else, and as you can see in the simulation in the background, it's down to Jack Swagger and Christian. I'm gonna get to Swagger in just a few moments. Anyways, I could also see Shelton Benjamin returning in this Royal Rumble matchup. I know last year I said the same thing, it didn't happen. Last year I thought he was gonna return maybe, so they could have like a Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania. They didn't end up having one, and Shelton didn't end up returning at the Rumble. This time I think Shelton's gonna return just because, I heard the reports that apparently he gave ROH his notice, and that he's possibly going to return to the WWE. If Shelton does return at the Rumble, I think that'd be pretty freaking cool. I'm a big fan of Shelton Benjamin. I've said this before in a video. I really became a big fan of Shelton once I saw that Gold Rush tournament match against Shawn Michaels back in 05. That was a freaking cool match. And as far as Jack Swagger goes, well, he's been away for a couple months. The last time I think we saw him, I think he was in a match against Dolph Ziggler, and he was on the losing end of that matchup, and then he said he was going to take some time off. So I think the Rumble is a good pay-per-view for Swagger to return, and maybe if Christian doesn't come back and go after Antonio Cesaro, I could see Jack Swagger going after Antonio Cesaro, and maybe they could have a feud for the US title. And as far as JBL goes, I could definitely see him participating in this Rumble, just like the other commentators participated in last year's Rumble. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, you can click that like button. I'd really appreciate it. Tell me who you think might return at the Rumble. With that said, I'm out, guys. See ya.